So the test plot's hanging in there pretty good. I have not mowed this in about 2 weeks. We've been very hot, hot, and very dry. See that right in there? See this blue looking tinge kind of over here? And then we go from blue to brown. Okay, that's the kind of graduating stages of heat stress, drought stress. Green, a little blue, and a little bit of brown. When it starts turning brown, you know that the grass is pretty much going dormant. This turf out here is looking really good. Unirrigated, non-irrigated turf, and it's hanging in there pretty well. So here's your mowing tip for the week. If your yard's stressed out, like this one is beginning to show signs of stress, the single thing that you can do that will help more than anything else is don't mow it. I know it kills you not to get out there and mow the grass. Believe me, been there, done that. But I learned that if you stay off that turf when it's stressed out, it will, for the most part, maintain that color. Obviously, weather's going to play a huge role in that. But the most important thing is you will preserve your turf for the fall. Okay, we can't control the weather. It is what it is. So that's what I'm going to do back here. Yeah, it might get a little bushy and shaggy. Right here in the shade, it still looks really, really good. Got a great dark green color. But yeah, as we get out there in the sun, color's a little bit off, a little bit of stress. Hey, just don't mow it. Don't mow it. You can see in the background, some of these other yards, they are fried. They are toast. Like I said, it hadn't rained here in 2 weeks. We've been mid-90s, low to mid-90s, and the fescue is not liking it. So there's your mowing tip. Stay the heck off of it. All right, this ain't gonna be a good place to stand. All right, so I think I'm safe now. Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. I hope you're having a great day. I'm standing right here in the shade because it is blistering hot. Today, what would a good watering video be without some water in the background, right? Wow. Did you get that? That's my wow saw. Good to have that thing handy. So, July 4th, Independence Day. Happy Independence Day. Thank you so much to the men and women who serve our country. Just thank you so much. We get to enjoy freedoms like none other, right? At the end of this video, I want to share with you my heart a little bit and kind of my take on freedom. We're going to talk about the watering first. So I do 3 different types of watering. I've been getting a couple of emails this week, folks asking me about watering, that kind of thing, asking, hey Pete, do you still have those big sprinklers? And yes, I still have the big sprinklers, still have the coupon code, all that kind of thing. I'll link it up in the description below, along with a very detailed video I did last year on the actual different sprinklers they make, so you can check that out if you want to. So what are the 3 different ways I water? Number 1, let's start from the beginning. Imagine you're in a renovation, or you are aeration and overseeding in the fall. You know, I'm in the middle of a Bermuda renovation at the shop, and I'm having to water that totally completely different than I water my fescue here at my home. So bare ground, bare dirt, or aeration and overseeding in the fall. I'm going to water multiple times a day and not a lot of minutes, okay? I don't want to drown the ground with water. I don't want seed adjusting and moving around and floating away and that kind of thing. I want just enough water to keep the seed moist, to keep the ground moist. Once I get germination, then I can revert to a little bit different style watering. Now that's going to look totally completely different for everybody, okay? We all live in different climates. We have different soil, different soil profiles. You know, not everybody has gotten their dirt right. Some people are getting their dirt right, that kind of thing. So the ground's going to accept and retain and hold moisture differently. So this is something you really have to play around with yourself to achieve the same end goal that I'm talking about. So that's number one, okay? Light watering times or light run times, multiple times during the day. And obviously in an aeration and seeding circumstance where you have an existing yard and you're plugging it and then overseeding, you can maybe not be as aggressive on that infrequent watering, meaning you can run a little bit longer run times and a couple of times a day. It all depends on your yard, your situation, shade, sun. There's so many variables. At the end of the day, keep the seed moist. That's all it is. Second way of watering is what I call my routine watering or normal watering. And that's going to be deep and infrequent. This is more for established yards. Once you get your yard up and running, or if you buy a new house and it's already got a yard and you're looking for a way to water, I like to water deep, meaning long run times, but not that many during the course of a week. This is something else that's going to be really different for everybody. I'll give you my exact run times, and maybe that'll help you or give you a starting point, and then you can kind of go from there. So my maintenance watering, which is around April to 1st of July-ish, roughly, all depends on the weather. I like to go 1 inch per week. Okay, we know that with my zone, I have to run it an hour to get a 1/2 inch. So if I'm gonna get 1 inch per week, I need to run it 2 hours per week in order to get that full inch of water. If you don't know what I'm talking about 1 inch per week, basically about 1 inch per week is good for most all grasses in typical growing conditions. And what you want to do is take a bunch of tuna cans or little cups or whatever you got and stick them out in the yard, run a zone for an hour, and then take the cup and measure how much water you're actually collecting. So my typical watering schedule, I like to mow on Saturday and then around again on Tuesday or so. And so I want to water after I mow. I don't ever like watering the day that I'm going to mow. So I always set my schedule up for Sunday and Wednesday, or the 2 days a week that I water. And so I want to give it a full inch in those 2 days. So I need 2 hours worth of run time. Now I'll run it 1 hour per zone on the Sunday and 1 hour per zone on the Wednesday. Now I don't run it for the entire hour each time. I bust that up into 2 30-minute cycles, okay? Meaning a zone would run for 30 minutes, it bumps to the next zone, 30 minutes, next zone, 30 minutes. And once it goes through all 11 zones around the house, then it starts over and goes back to zone 1, 30, zone 2, 30, zone 3, 30. That way I don't get that much runoff, okay? 30 minutes, the ground's gonna be able to soak that in, and by the time it gets all the way back around to zone 1, the ground's gonna be able to take in more water. Now, when we get hot, up around the July-ish time frame, July, August, maybe on into September, I like to go 1.5 inches per week. So I add a 3rd day. I don't change anything about my watering schedule. I'm still an hour for 1 day. I split that up into 2 30-minute cycles, and then again the second time during the week, and then again I add a 3rd one during the week. So that way I'm actually running the zones, they're running for 3 hours per zone per week, but it's split up into 6 actual cycles. And that's kind of my maintenance type water. Now what I'm doing now is called syringing, okay? For those of you that play golf, you're playing golf and it's a smoking hot day and you're out there and you see this guy ride through there on a golf cart and a big water hose reel on his golf cart, and he goes over beside the green and hooks his water hose up, and he's just got a water hose and he's walking around spraying the green. Well, that's called syringing. That is basically like on a hot summer day, you going down to the swimming pool and jumping in the pool to cool off. That's all that's doing, right? You're cooling the turf off in the heat of the day, or right about at the end of a really hot day. So what does my syringing cycle look like? Well, it's 5 minutes a zone. That's about it. I don't measure water. I'm not looking for a certain amount of water. I'm simply wanting to put enough water on the grass blade to coat the grass blade with water. And what's going to happen is the heat that's inside that plant, you know, water's a great conductor, right? Because that water's going to absorb that heat, and then as the water evaporates into the air, it's going to take that heat away. Now, there's one little trick to syringing, okay? This is incredibly important, especially with cool season turf, and even above that, especially with fescue. I know that rye and Kentucky Blue may not quite have the disease issues. Not saying they don't, but they don't have quite the disease issues that tall fescue does. So you're going to be super careful with syringing tall fescue. Disease is typically going to set in with fescue when you get hot, muggy, humid days and you have moisture sitting on the leaf surface overnight. So what does that tell you? You want to do your syringing on your tall fescue early enough during the day so that by the time your last zone is completely done running, that area has time to completely dry. You want the surface of the leaf blade completely dry before sundown, before it even starts to get kind of dark. You know what I'm saying? Because if you leave some moisture on that leaf blade overnight, you know, you're asking for trouble. So I have 11 zones of irrigation here at the house, and 5 minutes a zone, that's roughly an hour run time. It is 2:45 p.m. during the day right now. I've got about 7 zones left to go through the cycle, so that's about another 35 minutes. So that'll put us somewhere around 3:15 p.m. And the irrigation will be off for the day. Usually it's around 8 o'clock or so when, you know, it's starting to get, you're losing your daylight right now, and that's plenty of time for the leaf blade to dry. Now, how often do I syringe? Well, I syringe every day that it's really hot, okay? I don't have an exact temperature to give you. My guess is 90 or above. You know that you can walk outside and you're like, dang, it is brutal hot today. And so I'm more of a feel type guy than a real technical guy. So when I come outside and I know that it's really, really hot that day, and I can just take a wild guess, man, my fescue would probably want to jump in the swimming pool and cool off a little bit at the end of this day. And around here during the month of July through August, and even on up into September a little bit, that's pretty much going to be every day. So yeah, I hope you picked up a little bit of info right here. It's kind of the way I do my watering around here. And obviously, you need to get your dirt right. And what I mean by that is be pounding the ground with humic acid and RGS and aerate and things like that at the right times during the year. We're going to soften the ground up, loosen the soil up deep. That way you're able to do that deep and infrequent watering, and your roots will chase after that water, right? That water hits the ground, it soaks in deep, and there go the roots after it. Now today's July 4th when I'm filming this video, and July 6th, which is going to be Monday, our July 4th sale will probably be over. So check that out. We got the lawn care guides on sale, grass seed on sale, adjuvant on sale, some t-shirts on sale, so a bunch of things are on sale. Now if you plan to buy my grass seed, whether it's on sale or not on sale, this is anytime during the course of the year, do not buy the cool season guide with the grass seed, okay? Buy the grass seed, that's it, and then you'll get an email with a link to a private product page for the cool season guide, which is actually cheaper than the sale price for the cool season guide, okay? So don't buy the guide and the grass seed at the same time. Grass seed first, wait, get the email, then get the cool season guide, because it saves even more money if that's what you want to do. So hey, I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to watch. Again, I hope this helped you with your watering habits, watering schedule, that kind of thing. If your yard has checked out and went dormant, brown, crispy brown, you are better off to not try to wake it back up. You're better off to, hey, it is what it is. Maybe put a little bit, like a 1/4 inch of water on it every week or so, just to kind of keep the crown going. But know that during the fall of the year, when it cools down, aeration and overseeding are right around the corner. and then yes, the yard's going to come right back to life. Especially if you go with my fescue, it is a very tough grass, and if it goes dormant, 95% of the time it's going to check back in when you get to cooler weather, and it takes an extreme amount of heat and drought to actually kill it. And with that said, it is possible to kill it. I've never made the claim that my grass seed is the best grass seed ever, and I'm not going to make that claim because I would be lying to you. That would be a false statement. And I have a quality grass seed, a good high quality seed. I do not have the best that's out there. So if it does get super hot and super dry for a very long period of time, yeah, it could die, and then you have to replace it during the fall. Like I said, if your yard goes dormant, you get a little bit of watering here and there, enough to keep the crown of the plant alive. When you get to the fall of the year, she'll pop right back to life. So again, I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to watch this. I really hope it helped you with your watering, and I'll check you later. Let's talk a little bit about freedom. Now, I got 3 freedoms I want to share with you. They're my top 3 freedoms. I absolutely love them. I am ecstatic about them. I am over the top a nut about these 3 particular freedoms. Number 1 is the freedom of speech. I can say what I want to say, and you can't do anything about it, and that guy over there can't do anything about it. My wife can't do anything about it. Nobody can do anything about it. I am free to speak my mind, my emotions, my thoughts, my opinion, my anything I want to speak about. I get to speak it freely without having to fear of being put in jail and thrown in the slammer. So that's number 1, freedom of speech, right? Number 2 is my freedom of religion, right? Nobody can tell me what to worship, who to worship, or when to worship. I get to do that. I get to pick and choose when, who, and how I want to worship. Whether you agree with me or not, human beings are created to worship, okay? Whether you may not agree with that, and that's completely okay. That goes back to the number 1, right? Now, since I have the freedom of religion or freedom of faith, I choose to worship God Almighty, the creator of heaven and earth, the creator of everything you see around you. You walk outside, you open your eyes, and you look. There's evidence of creation everywhere you look. You cannot walk outside with your eyes open and not see evidence of creation. And see, I choose to believe that because I'm free to do that. I get to make that choice freely, whether to believe that or not to believe that, just like you do. Now, one thing you'll never get from me is I will never force my faith on you, because I understand that you are your own person, okay? You are a person that gets to make your own decisions, your own choices. You were created to do that. When you were born, you had free will, free choice, right? So I respect your freedom of speech. You have my respect 100%, so I'm not going to force what I believe onto you. That's part of how that freedom of religion and freedom of speech kind of go hand in hand, is nobody can make me believe what I want to, and I'm not going to try and make you believe what I believe. So hey, those are 2 killer things that makes America great. And my 3rd favorite freedom that we get to enjoy here in the United States of America is, well, it's better if I show you. Holy cow, right? Yeah, I know, right. Now I'm telling you, we have the right to keep and bear arms. And the way I look at that is I get to keep and bear them so that I can protect my other liberties, right? A lot of places in the world can't own firearms, okay? They can't own these things. We have a very special freedom of being able to have them here in the United States. And man, it ain't nothing like it. I love spending quality time with my family, out at the range, shooting. It is so much fun. It is an incredible way to teach a child responsibility. So, not gonna get into the politics of it, because I could care less about that crap. I know that I'm an American citizen, and on my American soil, I have the right to keep and bear arms, and I'm going to take full advantage of it. So those are 3 really cool freedoms that as Americans we get to enjoy. But there's one other freedom that I haven't mentioned yet. You really can't compare this freedom versus American freedom, because there's really no comparison. If you look at all the chaos and trouble and all the things in the world today, in the future, or in the past, any of them, anything from slavery to war to abortion to domestic violence, any of them, you take all that stuff and they all point back to one thing. And that one thing is a 3-letter word called sin. See, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. The guy across the street isn't. The governor of this state over here isn't. The truck driver in this state isn't. None of us are perfect. You were born that way. You were born with a sin nature. The ability to disobey God. It was automatic. You inherited it, and there's not a dang thing you can do about it. But you can be free from it. And that's my hope. My hope is in Jesus, and He has set me free from sin, from my past. I've had an abortion. I've done cocaine like it ain't no tomorrow. I've been hooked on hard liquor. All the things of the world that may be considered evil or wrong. You know, there's a right and a wrong that really does exist if you didn't realize it. And a lot of these things that we do as humans are wrong in the sight of God. Why do you think we have a thing called a conscience? When you're a little kid, you're still a piece of chewing gum. That little thing inside of you that makes you feel like, oh no, I done something wrong. We know the difference between right and wrong. When there's a murder on TV and somebody shoots somebody, we just don't shove it up under the rug and say, oh, somebody got shot. We know that that's wrong to take another life. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you knowing you have done that wrong, that is called sin. I knew I was wrong when I went through that abortion. I knew I was wrong when I was taking that cocaine and changing my body and getting high. I knew I was wrong when I did those steroids. I knew I was wrong when I was wasted off my tail drinking hard liquor. That conscience inside of me told me I was wrong because I was doing something wrong that didn't honor God, because I was created to worship an almighty and all-powerful and all-sovereign God. And see, when I met Jesus, when I accepted Jesus as my Savior, my King, my world, my Lord, see, I was free from that sin. I was free from it because I was covered under His blood. He paid the penalty for my sin so I could be free from it. And see, one day He's coming back, okay? And when He comes back this time, He ain't coming back to be all buddy-buddy. He's coming back to make things right. You can't compare American freedom to the freedom you get from the gospel of Jesus. So hey, I want to encourage you, get your faith right. So hey, that's another cool thing about America. You might be watching this and you're like, you stupid dummy talking about a God and all that. Well, hey, that's you're absolutely entitled to choose and believe what you want to, and you won't get any kickback out of me, because that's your life, that's your eternity. You spend it how you want to spend it. So hey, I appreciate you watching. I love my country. I love being an American. I'm proud to say I live in the greatest country on planet Earth. I know that things are in a tizzy right now, looking rough, but even if you take all of that stuff, the chaos and the disorder that's going on right now, even with that, we still live in the greatest country in the world. Say, I hope you have a great Independence Day, which was yesterday. Have a great Independence weekend. Matter of fact, make every day Independence Day, because it's just a date on the calendar, right? We get to live this freedom 365 days out of the year, so let's keep it. Let's do what we need to do to protect it. And man, I'm telling you, there's nothing like being an American. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much to men, women, girls, boys who have fought for, died for, and who do stand in the gap right now to keep us free. I'm so proud to be an American. I'm even more proud to be a follower of the gospel of Jesus and to be a child of the King. You know what I mean? Child of Almighty God. So hey, I hope you have a great day and have a great week, and I will check you later.